join us now in the holding area as the cars are getting ready to go out for the second race in the Speed Group F1000 Championship. And Alistair Boulton, you've been involved in sports car racing, a former sports car champion. What are these cars like to drive around this track?
The first thing I noticed is how unbelievably quick they are. I mean, they're pretty forgiving to drive. I've driven some very quick cars. Some are easier to drive than others. This is really good, you know. I mean, you do feel quite exposed, and that kind of enhances the feeling of speed, but they're great little cars, you know. It's the perfect combination of, you know, it's good superbike power, low weight, quite forgiving, so people can just get in them, and, you know, as long as you've got a reasonable amount of skill, you can get the pace up pretty quick.
And particularly with this race now, the second race, it's a reverse grid format. You're third on the grid. Cadwell's very notorious for being difficult to overtake. Do you think you can hold on to the podium?
I hope so. I've got a few ideas of, you know, what might happen on the start. You try and work out in your head, you know, if this guy goes this way, where do you go? But I've had varying successes at Cadwell. I've seen it when it goes extraordinarily well and extraordinarily badly on the start. So I'll wait and see what happens. But the main thing is just keep it clean. It's good they give us quite a bit of space on the start here. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
We're looking forward to it as well. Best of luck. We look forward to seeing you after the race. As I mentioned, reverse grid format. Yesterday's winner, Michael Watton, starting in P8 and on pole position. One of the oldest, if not the oldest driver in the series, Peter Lague. He's going to be there on pole position. As I mentioned, it's a very tough circuit to overtake on. Could we see him there at the end of the race? We'll wait and see. It's over to Andy McEwen to take you through the grid.
Yeah, thanks, Lord. I always enjoy these reverse grid races, and round here on the tight, twisty Cadwell Park circuit, it should be particularly entertaining. So Lague on pole from Bailey alongside. Alistair Boulton is third with Adam Walker on row number 2. Then it's Iyengar and Dan Clowes ahead of our top 2 from race 1, Butcher and Watton. Then it's Alwyn Rhodes Mays and Christopher Hill with Dan Levy at the back of the grid. So can Peter Lague hang on at the front of the field? This is going to be a fascinating race. He'll be keen to make up for that unlucky spin that he had, missing the out-of-control Rob Bailey in race 1. Well, it's those two that line up together on the front row of the grid. Bailey gets a heap of wheel spin, and so I think Lague will at least hold on to the lead down towards turn number 1. Iyengar on the inside there, trying to make it 3 wide for third and can't quite do it. And it's a fairly lacklustre start there from Michael Watton. He's already up the inside of Dan Clowes in towards Charlie's. No, the door is closed in his face. Dan will be determined to keep his big championship rival behind him. Remember, they are tied on points for the championship lead coming into this race. Out of Charlie's, down the park straight they go, through the compression at the bottom of the hill. They then start the climb back up again, and it is going to be Lague that leads the way, but at the inside he's looking at Adam Walker for the race lead. Walker can't quite do it. What's going on behind? Clowes there on the inside of Rob Bailey, who is slipping backwards. Rob Bailey, whose team did a great job to fix that car after a fairly substantial accident in practice on Friday evening, and they've done a really good job just to get the car back out there. Spinner up in front though. Oh, that was close, and that was that Adam Walker? There was one of the front runners there that lost it coming through Chris Curve. It wasn't Peter Lague, the race leader. Who was it? Was it Alistair Boulton or was it Rob Bailey? We'll have to wait and see. On board with Michael Watton though, as he heads up towards the bottom of the mountain for the first time, still chasing down Dan Clowes. But Paul Butcher has got himself ahead of Clowes off the start. Remember, Clowes started ahead of Paul as a result of the reverse grid. So Lague leads the way. It's Alistair Boulton in second. Now these two are former RGB Championship contenders. They used to race together in the 750 Motor Club Championship, and here they are fighting for the race lead in F1000. And Lague is really having to get the elbows out now to try and keep his old rival behind. This lead group of cars though is getting tighter and tighter. 6 cars absolutely nose to tail. Back on board with Clowes, looking back at Watton then behind, trying to find a way through as they flash across the start finish line. Watton goes to the outside line. He's really late on the brakes. What a move that was. 2 places gained by Michael Watton, and it's on his 2 nearest rivals this weekend. Dan Clowes and Paul Butcher both lose a position there to Michael Watton, and that was some serious commitment there, or still relatively cool tyres for Watton to go through past both of the drivers, arguably most likely to beat him in this race. Well, into the race lead has gone Alistair Boulton, not bad for a driver competing in his first ever race weekend in single seaters, and he's doing it on old rubber to boot. Lague, unfortunately, is now slipping down the order rather. He's dropped down to 4th position, and he could drop further places before too much longer. Watton has gone through, and now frustratingly for Butcher and Clowes. Oh, look at that sideways moment there for Peter Lague. That'll get the old heart going, won't it? And up the inside does indeed go Paul Butcher, and goes Dan Clowes. And the point I was about to make is that they will be getting ever more frustrated at the fact that they were stuck behind Peter Lague and watching their big championship rival escaping up the road. So remember, whoever finishes higher up in this race between Watton and Clowes will take the championship lead going on to the next rounds of the championship. So it is a significant race this for the two of them, and Watton is in front. I know it's early days in the championship, but nonetheless, if they can take the points, then it's well worth it. So Watton right on the tail of Iyengar now as they go out of the final turn, back along the pit straight once again, and it looks like he's going to try and challenge for second place now before too much longer. Across the line they go, two blue cars absolutely as one, and look at the speed as they whip their way into the first corner. These F1000 cars really putting on quite a show. Back out onto the park straight they go, and Michael will be in the slipstream and looking for a way through potentially into second place here. Alok will defend the inside line. No, he doesn't. Leaves a gap, and through goes Michael Watton, and that was timely as well because Paul Butcher was starting to loom ever larger in his mirrors. So Butcher will be trying his best to get back on terms with him. Here's Adam Walker, the train driver, who unfortunately has not really been able to steam his way through the field, has he? He's been sort of mired in midfield arguably all weekend really. He finished the first race in 5th place, which by his fairly high standards this year was a bit of a disappointment really. Good to see him back to his Brands Hatch form where he was fighting for race victories. Of course got himself a pair of second place finishes for the season opener. Third place battle now then developing, but this battle for the race lead is developing as well. Alistair Boulton leading the way with Michael Watton breathing down his neck now. And Michael, the reigning champion, he's the reigning champion for a reason, because he's not only very good at putting on the sort of dominant performances that we saw in race 1 where he gets into the lead and checks out, he's equally good at carving his way through the field in these reverse grid races, and he's right on the tail of the leader now going towards Coppice Corner. We don't do much braking into this turn though, and so it was always going to be tough to make the move stick there, but he's shown his nose now, he's signalled his intent, and so how much longer can Boulton hang on? Back with Peter Lague now, who's had all sorts of dramas this weekend, which started off badly really, where he hit significant traffic on his drive up from the southeast of England to get to Cadwell Park. Only completed 3 laps in qualifying because of clutch issues, and now even bigger issues because he's off on the grass coming through Charlie's. The barrier is looming, bang! Rear end first into the tyre wall, and well, they had to fix the rear diffuser and the front wing after that off that he had yesterday, and unfortunately he's sustained more damage, and that's race-ending damage you'd have to imagine in race number 2. So the leaders make their way towards the mountain. Into third place has now come Paul Butcher, so that will really mean that Watton has to get the hurry up here to get past Alistair Boulton before Butcher in the yellow and purple car starts to close in on him. So through the Hall Bends we go again. Watton certainly is the quicker of these two, there's no doubt about it, but if he spends even another half a lap stuck behind Boulton, then Butcher and potentially Dan Clowes will be with him, because we're on board with Dan now in 5th place, chasing down Iyengar as they turn into Barn Corner once again. If he can clear the blue number 44 car fairly swiftly, he may well be able to go off with Paul Butcher and chase down the leading 2, and it is still 45 Alistair Boulton leading the way. Runs a bit wide though through Coppice. Yellow flags out as a result of Peter Lague's spin into the barriers. Thankfully that's not quite as dramatic as his 120-mile-an-hour spin that he had yesterday. Here we go though, nose to tail down the park straight. This is for the race lead, and Watton gets himself to the right-hand side of the road. That's the inside line for Park Corner. We're on board with Alistair Boulton. Can he hang on? He's going to have to be the last of the late breakers to do it, and it's Watton, who is one of the best on the brakes, who carves his way through into the race lead. So Alistair Boulton, well, it's taken Michael Watton half the race there or thereabouts to get himself into the lead of the race, but he has done it now, and he will look to try and pull a bit of a gap now over the rest of the field before Paul Butcher comes through, because Butcher is now right with Boulton. And it's difficult here for Alistair because yes, you've lost the lead, but you're still on for a really good result. Don't throw it all away now. It's very easy to lose the sort of desire to keep pushing when you lose that lead, but it still would be his first podium if you could hang on to a top 3 position, of course. Alistair Boulton in his debut in the F1000 Championship, as we mentioned, his debut in single seater racing, and possibly because he's underestimated just how competitive this championship is, he opted to compete this weekend on used rubber. Didn't buy himself a fresh set of tyres, and he may well be living to regret that now slightly. On board with Dan Clowes, and it looks like that's Adam Walker in the 14 car that's chasing us down. fairly sure now that it was Adam that we saw spinning on that first lap up towards the gooseneck, but he's recovered nicely to be chasing down the erstwhile championship leader now. Oh, Paul Butcher, look at that. That was right on the ragged edge and a little bit beyond as he got two wheels on the dirt coming out of Charlie's. He still carries good speed up the hill though, gets in the slipstream, ducks and dives this way and that, but, well, Alistair Boulton, he was not going to make the same mistake again and leave that inside line open, was he? That's how Watton got through a lap or so ago. He's not going to let Paul Butcher have it that easily. Back through Chris Curve they go. Still the 45 car is ahead of the 42 car. Back down the hill over the curb in towards Mansfield, and yep, he's doing well to hang on for the time being, but you do sense that there's no doubt about it, Butcher is quicker here. It's just a case of where he can manage to prise open the door. There goes Michael Watton through the right-hander at the bottom of the mountain, leaps into oblivion over the hill. It's almost side by side for second place now as they appear back into our sight. Alistair Boulton still tenaciously hanging on, but they've got a decent gap over Dan Clowes at the moment, so you do almost wonder whether it might be worth Alistair maybe not letting Paul Butcher through, that's maybe the wrong term, but if Butcher were to get through now without costing them too much time, there's a chance that Boulton would then be able to keep a decent gap over the Clowes and Walker battle behind, whereas if he keeps defending, it will hold them both up and allow the two cars behind to get ever closer. Butcher to the outside into Coppice though, what a move that was, and Boulton has to give way there, so Butcher goes through to second place around the outside of the first corner, but of course you can carry a bit more speed by taking the wide line in, because that is the traditional racing line. When you go in on a tight defensive line into any corner, you have to slow down more to make the apex, and that's what Boulton had to do there, and it cost him second place. So Butcher moves through, and you can see the momentum that lost the now third place man, Boulton, and it means that Clowes and Walker are not that far behind him now. There is Dan Clowes, car number 8, making his way through Chris Curve, into the gooseneck, through the right, through the left, they plummet downhill again, and hard on the brakes then the road flattens out, but not quite enough there for Clowes, who actually outbraked himself, ran a bit wide, and Adam Walker gets a run down towards the mountain. He's up the inside line. This would not be in the script for Dan, who really can't afford to be losing too many places. One of Dan's worst finishes this far in the season. He's rarely been off the podium, to be honest. He's had more podium finishes than anybody else. His worst finish is a 4th for the man who, yeah, he's won a race, and the other 4 of the other 5 races he was on the podium. So he will be dropping quite a significant amount of points when we start calculating drop scores, which generally speaking starts to happen midway through the season. And so Dan, in a way, can afford to have a couple of slightly lacklustre finishes. This, at the moment though, on course to be equaling his worst finish of the year, and if Walker gets through, it would be his worst finish of the year outright. That's the stricken car there of Peter Lague, who has stood watching the sidelines absolutely fine after that fairly hefty whack that he had with the tyre wall, but the car will need quite a lot of repair work for the next rounds of the championship at Rockingham at the end of June. Only a few weeks between rounds here in the summer for the F1000 Championship, but it's the full-length Rockingham circuit that they will be racing on next time out. A more different circuit to this you can't really imagine. This is tight, twisty, undulating, very, very technical indeed, and whilst the Rockingham circuit is very technical, it is wide open, it is fast, it is very flat indeed. But it's a great calendar that has been produced for the F1000 Championship this year. They really do get to sample the best of British motorsport, and they get to sample a little bit of everything really. So Dan Clowes running in 4th place, and really because he's so busy defending from Adam Walker, he's not taking huge chunks of time out of Alistair Boulton. If anything, Alistair's been a little bit quicker over the last few laps. Clowes just about doing enough to hold on to this 4th place over Walker. Iyengar, don't forget, is still running in 6th position. Back across the line, scorching pace being set here at Cadwell Park. You'll be unsurprised to hear that Michael Watton set the fastest lap at 23.5 though, is actually just over half a second off the pace that he ran in race 1, but of course he's been mired in traffic throughout the first half of the race. Back out of Park Corner, flashes past our camera position on the Park Straight, and you really do get a sense of the speed that these things are achieving at what is the fastest part of the circuit. Clowes has just shaken free from Walker actually for the time being, so there's a possibility here that he could be able to start closing the gap to the 3rd place man. Indeed, I'd say that he is, and that happened as soon as he pulled the gap on Walker. So you see, the instant that he doesn't have to worry about defending, all of a sudden he's going a hell of a lot quicker than he was, and is probably on for one of his quickest laps of the race, and that will be enough potentially by the end of this lap to put him onto terms with the third place man. It would be a shame in a way to see Alistair Boulton robbed of a podium finish, but of course Dan Clowes needs the points for the championship. He's already set to lose the championship lead, with Michael Watton scorching off into a race win, it would seem. The least that Clowes needs out of this race is a podium. He certainly doesn't want to get assaulted by an aggressive Adam Walker there. He was really charging onto his gearbox in towards the hairpin. On the final lap though now is Michael Watton, who is turning his way through Chris Curve, and he is about to take his second race win of the weekend, his 6th of the season from 8 races. This is more like it for Michael, who was determined to bounce back from that disappointing time last time out at Snetterton. And here he is at Cadwell Park, about to do the double. Out of the final corner he comes, and he will see the team cheering, the checkered flag eventually waving, and it is a race victory for Michael Watton by 4.8 seconds in the end over second place man Paul Butcher, 6.2 excuse me. Dan Clowes is third, Alistair Boulton fourth, Iyengar fifth, then Adam Walker, Rob Bailey. Rhodes Mays on his return to racing after 20 years away is 8th, ahead of Christopher Hill 9th. We lost Peter Lague, and Daniel Levy unfortunately fails to reach the finish of either race.
Michael, an amazing race coming through the field on a circuit as tight as this. You must be feeling really pleased with yourself.
Yeah, it was a very exciting race. I mean, we discussed before that the first 2-3 laps were going to be really fraught for this race because it's so tight and narrow. There's only certain places you can overtake, and the first few laps it was almost like picking a lane on the motorway, which one you thought was going to go faster in the end. And yeah, eventually passed Dan and Paul in one move, and I think that was the key to the race then, because I expected them to be my 2 toughest competitors, but Alistair was driving really well. It was just a really exciting race for me.
Paul, congratulations on second place, but bit of a tough race out there, and unfortunately not the top step of the podium today.
Yeah, I made the wrong call basically. As Mike was saying, it was a question of picking where you thought the gap's going to open up, and I made a wrong choice, and he managed to come through. The one thing I should say though is big congratulations to Alistair Boulton. I mean, this is his first race in a Jedi, and he made it really tough to get past. Really impressive for his first time out.
Yes, he's going to be someone to watch further on during the season. Next race at Rockingham, looking forward to it?
Yeah, I tend to go pretty well at Rockingham. We've got a couple of setup changes we're going to try on the car to find the 2/10 I need to give Michael a slightly harder time. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Dan, I'm just going to assume by looking at you that was a tough race. I don't know why, there's just something kind of gives it away.
That was very hard work, really hard work, and much more entertaining than the first race yesterday. Yeah, really good race. So the first few laps pretty chaotic with the reverse grid, and just trying to pick your way through really, and it took all race to get to third. I only passed Alistair on the last lap. I think it's his first go in the car this weekend. He's driven brilliantly. Adam Walker nearly got past me halfway through as well because we're making little mistakes. It was a thoroughly entertaining race.
And as you say, close, clean racing all throughout. Is that one of the key points of F1000 racing?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the guys in the series are very good, very hard to race with, but also very fair. You've got to have a certain level of respect with each other when we're racing open wheel cars. Otherwise, you end up in trouble quite quickly. Yes,
absolutely. Well, congratulations once again. Been fabulous seeing you out there. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you very much, and just say top job to JFK this weekend. They've done a great job with the car. All we've done all weekend is just cleaned it, checked it and refueled it. Brilliant job.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dan, and thank you very much for joining us. We hope you can join us next time where racing action will take place at Rockingham.